You're watching The Sports Objective, the podcast for Pirates.
ECU, Private Nation, Purple and Gold family, stand to your feet, put your crossbones up, and lean side to side, yeah, and lean side to side, yeah, and lean side to side, come on, yeah, welcome to the island, man, it's crazy in here, a whole sea of purple and gold waving it.
Welcome in to the Pirate Football Playback here, presented by L&K Custom Homes on the Sports Objective. I want to give a shout out to Kevin Walker, KK Walker. He's a licensed general contractor. Give him a call at 336-688-8461. Let's bring in now all the way from the great, I was ready to say the great state of LaGrange, but the great town of LaGrange, Kyle Baba. What's up, man?
It's a state of mind. LaGrange is a state of mind. What's going on, guys? Another great winning weekend for the Pirates. Pirates go down to San Antonio, get the big win. So 7-1 on the year now. It's a great year. What an unbelievable year for the Pirates. Just astounding. Bubba, are you enjoying it?
Yeah, don't we wish? But appreciate. I see Justin Butt's already chiming in. Glad to see.
Elliot.
I'm assuming you've made it back safely from San Antonio. Appreciate Justin sending some pictures from the Alamo Dome and looked like a pretty good atmosphere. He said certainly much better than the other dome experiences that he had back in the day at Tulane. But yeah, hey, if you'd have told us we were going to start so quickly offensively, you'd have been very excited about that, and we were. But you'd have thought if you'd have said we're going to have 10 offensive points and 17 points overall in the first quarter, that we'd probably be up by more than 17-14. But, from that point on, we were outscored, I guess, 27-3 before we had the late touchdown. And, give the guys credit. And, I don't doubt the effort for a second. But at the same time, just after the strong start, I think Alex Flynn ended up getting sacked 5 times.
Yeah, he did. That was a big problem in the first quarter. Go ahead, Matt. Welcome in.
Thanks, Kyle. Appreciate that, Matt. The words I'm going to go back to, all night, probably ad nauseum, are going to be, consistency and then complementary football, because, it's like, you plug one hole and then another hole opens up, and every week it's something different. And, yesterday you played a little better offensively. I say a little better. But then your defense breaks down on you. And when you play well offensively and defensively, your field goal unit breaks down, as we saw last week for 2 missed field goals. So, it's right now, you're not seeing complementary football from East Carolina where you get a complete game. And you're just trying to plug one hole after the next.
I felt the same way. It's kind of like the analogy I was thinking about, Matt. It's funny you bring that up. I was thinking about in the first half about plumbing. We always hear you're home and you fix one problem and you create another one. It's kind of like that with us. It's like the offensive in the first half, man, that we were clicking, and I know we had the pick 6 and everything, and I was like, this is exactly the game we needed. And then one of the things I want to bring up to the rest of you guys too, it feels like that once again we played better. It seems like what I'm trying to say, the one common theme, another one you can have all season long, is, guys, the second half. I don't know what we do, but the second half is not as good as the first half. And this week that storyline continues. I thought the first half I was really proud of our team, and but the second half it was a completely different team out there.
I think part of it has to do on offense with where we don't have a very big playbook, and they adjust to what we're doing and shut it down better in the second half. Particularly, that's what happened against UTSA. They were able to get a lot more pressure on Flynn in the second half. The O-line just can't hold up. The O-line just sucks, to put it bluntly. The receivers did a much better job yesterday of getting open. We were more aggressive throwing the ball downfield. There were some positives to build off of from yesterday. Quite honestly, not happy with the outcome, but had we beaten Charlotte the week before, I would be optimistic about the performance against UTSA. Would not be happy at all with where we are in the season, but you can see growth. And we can build off this performance. This is a performance that you can build off of. The problem is you haven't won but one game up to this point. So, is it too late in the year to build off of it? How much better can you get? That's what we have to find out. We have 4 games left in the year. Who knows what could happen against Tulane? But we got to build off this performance, and there's some things to build off of.
And I want to ask you guys another thing that came to mind, the frustration. I think we were talking about it in the first half. I was frustrated. Kyle, you brought up Charlotte. I was frustrated because I felt like, and I don't know about you guys, I felt like that last week against Charlotte, Garcia was in there way too long. We brought in Flynn, and I believe it was the third quarter off the top of my head, and it was way too long. We waited to bring him in. And then this week, I felt like, it's like, wow, if we'd had Flynn in there, maybe we would have the whole game. I know that's second guessing, and I'm like,
me and Bubba have talked about that ad nauseum.
Okay.
That why we had the game plan we had last week, which was to throw the ball short. That was the game plan last week against Charlotte, was short passing game, and you throw the running quarterback, and you start the running quarterback, I should say. The game plan made no sense if you're going to start Mason Garcia. That was Flynn's game last week, and had we started them, we would have probably won. And after the game yesterday, Houston for the first time, and I know I'm all over the place here, but it's okay. We don't have to be exactly chronological with everything. But Houston after the game yesterday, post-game press conference, actually showed some emotion and didn't just come across as arrogant and defensive. He actually admitted that they laid an egg against Charlotte. That was his words. He said, "It pisses me off seeing this performance this week. I can win with that football team. That's a football team that I can win with. That's how we should look. I can grow from this, and it pisses me off that we laid a friggin' egg against Charlotte." That was his words. So I was glad to hear that. I would have liked him to take more direct responsibility for laying that egg against Charlotte, but I was glad to hear him show some emotion and acknowledge that things aren't perfect. We all freaking knew, because we have eyes and ears and have cognitive thinking ability. So I'm glad he finally freaking admitted it.
Yeah,
so that was good to see.
I'm sorry. I was just going to say, Matt, when it seems like with the one thing that I've been wanting to ask you after the last show last week, I forgot to ask, these players are still playing hard. And the one thing I worried about the most is, I don't think he's lost the locker room the way they played yesterday.
Shockingly, no. Honestly, shockingly, no. I was worried that after the Charlotte game we would have.
Yeah.
And shockingly, no. I do not think he's lost the locker room. Matt, Bubba, you guys both former players. What do y'all think?
I don't think so at all. And based on what I've seen, I'm sure you may have an isolated player or two, but by and large, you don't come out and perform. And I understand we lost by 2 touchdowns, and we were down 3 touchdowns until the final minute of the game. But that game, you think 34-20 late third quarter, and then
had we played that way against Charlotte, we'd have beat their ass.
Yes.
Right. Yeah. Camaro Edmonds, when he was not down, he was on the top of the UTSA player. Knee never touched the turf. Looked like it was going to be 34-27. And then what was the very next play? We threw the pick. So it went
that's one of those cases, Bubba, that Coach Ruff used to always preach and do such a good job of, and getting his teams to buy in, is forget the previous play. He threw that pick because of that previous play. He was trying to make something happen because of Edmonds getting called down and them couldn't review the play because of the whistles. I really believe that. I really believe that was all about not forgetting the previous play. You remember how much Ruff used to preach that? I know that's nothing new in the world of football. All coaches preach it, but Ruff used to harp on it.
Yeah, and then it went from being looking at a 34-27 game, or heck, even a 34-23 game. At that point, late third quarter, it'd been interesting to see what we'd have done on fourth down, and depending on the down in distance, the distance to go on fourth down, whether we would have opted to go for it or kicked a field goal. But went from 34-27 potentially to 41-20 there early in the fourth quarter. And I've seen some folks in the comment section saying, trying to talk up a 14-point loss to UTSA shows how far we've fallen. We're not talking up anything.
Absolutely not.
No.
Perhaps
Not at all. But
perhaps you've never watched the podcast before.
Yeah, if you've seen what we've seen this year, you understand that despite a 2-touchdown loss and even a 3-touchdown deficit there in the final minutes of the game, that it was an improved performance on the offensive side, and particularly, obviously, defensive side.
Yeah, Coach Houston at halftime, he talked about. Sorry, I'm sorry, Bubba.
Go ahead.
It went out. I thought you were done. I apologize. No, I was just going to simply say, Coach Houston on the radio broadcast, he was talking. Kyle, he was showing a lot of emotion to Macy O'Donnell about the very fact of on defense. He said there's something like, paraphrasing, something like, easy plays. In other words, that they should have had and they didn't. And but it was
like he said post game, it was a wheel route, just a simple wheel route, one of the big plays they hit on us with Kellogg's Frosted Flakes or whatever his name was.
Ogle Kellogg.
Yeah.
Hey, and I want to make something very clear here. And I'm going to say this, and I'm going to make a very, very clear point to anybody. Just so everybody knows, I 100% stand behind everything I say. If we go 1-11, I think he's gone. But I also think that there's a chance that we can build on this performance and win. I am not. If we really build on this performance and our defense feels like that they had their worst performance of the year and comes out next week and plays their best game of the year, and the offense builds on this, and Tulane, they're trending down. They've been winning, but they've struggled the last 2 weeks. They barely beat Rice. They barely beat North Texas. I know we're 17-point underdogs. I wouldn't be shocked. It would not shock me to shock the world next week and beat Tulane. And I know everybody's going to say, oh, come on, what are you talking about? You're sitting here saying you want to fight. And I do. If we go 1-11, I think you should be fired. But I'm also not going to sit here and say that I do not want us to turn it around, or that I don't think that it's possible that if we build on this, then maybe we don't beat Tulane, but we play well against Tulane, and then we go beat Florida Atlantic, Navy, and Tulsa to end the year. 3 straight wins. Yep. Build on that and take some momentum into the offseason. Now, if we come out next week against Tulane and they beat our ass 42-10, I'm going to say, all right, we're done. We're going to go 1-11. But if we can build on this, then we could finish on a positive upswing. But that does not change my opinion on if we go 1-11 and what I think should happen. I just want to make sure nobody thinks I'm double talking.
Yeah, when the line came out earlier today for the Tulane game, the Green Wave 17-point favorites, and my first inclination would be to take the Pirates and the points, because here lately, Tulane has had a couple of close calls against North Texas. I believe that was actually in New Orleans, and then yesterday at Rice. So it would not shock me to see them cover, but it would also not shock me to see the Pirates keep it closer than the 17.
Hey, Matt.
It's probably a game that I would honestly stay away from.
Hey, Matt, I agree with the guys. You were talking earlier, and I want to bring you in on this because you were talking about the word you go back to a lot, consistency. So how do we get, with complementary football, how do we get the offense? Finally, the one thing I would say is, thank goodness, I'm watching on television on ESPN Plus. I've got the radio on. Thank goodness this offensive, the offensive side of the ball woke up. Yeah, the problems on the defense, yes, were there some X plays there. How do you find a way to be consistent where we could finally put a win in the second half of the season in the win column?
Well, we saw some things offensively yesterday that were very different than from what we've seen this year. The first thing was they stuck with Flynn. They gave Flynn the opportunity. They stuck with him. We went at a faster tempo yesterday. We spread the field more. And one of the major differences was we tried to set up the run through the pass. So pass first, run second, not the other way around. So that was one of the big differences yesterday. And, the offense was far from perfect, but it was definitely better than what we've seen in
Oh,
previous weeks. The issue for me yesterday, again, going back to consistency, is what in the hell happened to the defense yesterday? I
right.
mean, this is a unit that's played pretty solid football. And they tend to break down in the fourth quarter because they're on the field so long. But yesterday, numerous busts in the secondary, wide open receivers. I
Right.
mean, there were some plays with wide open receivers. It's just inexplicable, because, and again, it goes back to you plug one hole, another hole opens, and that's the part, Dave. You talk about what's it going to take to win. You got to have a game where you play good on both sides of the ball and you don't have breakdowns on special
Right.
teams.
Yeah,
Matt,
one thing that I said, and one thing I do not, and it's really amazed me, Matt, that our secondary played this so well this year. I don't think we've done a good job getting pressure on the quarterback. As good as our D line is against the run, I don't think we're worth a damn on getting pressure on the quarterback. And I think it amazes me our secondary has done as well as it has at times. I said all week, if we didn't get pressure on Frank Harris, he was going to make our secondary look stupid. And he did just that. That's no excuse for broken coverage. But we also did in the second half, our coverage was better. But we got way more pressure on Frank Harris in the second half, way more. I don't know did you see anything we were doing different in terms of blitzing that we got more pressure on him in the second half than the first? Matt?
Kyle, you cut out there for a second on my end. Ask that question one more time.
Did you see anything different in the second half as to why we were able to get more pressure on him than we were in the first half?
Yeah, I mean, I thought that San Antonio's offensive line was not particularly stellar either against the pass rush. So it seemed like we were wearing them down a little bit up front at different times. And I thought our D line played really well for the most part yesterday. And we were able to generate more pressure, in the second half. But when we did, sometimes you'd have those breakdowns in the secondary.
right.
But I think you saw both offensive lines begin to break down in the second half of that game. Nobody was really holding up very well on either side.
And by the way, Matt, to your point about the defense, Monica says linebackers gave up big plays.
Oh, no doubt about it. I mean, there were breakdowns in the underneath coverage. There were it's almost inexplicable how that happened like that yesterday. But to win.
Matt, let me ask you this. I'm sorry, I don't mean to step on you. It just comes to mind. You go back to the team, Quentin. Do you think the defense were so pissed off about the performance against Charlotte that maybe they just weren't into it mentally? Then the offense came playing like they did, and then the defense finally started waking the hell up towards the midway of the second quarter, and in the second half, it maybe they came out flat. Sometimes an offense, you think an offense coming out flat, but it could be the offense came to play and the defense just wasn't ready, and they because of previous weeks and had to get it together.
It certainly seemed like it. And, I don't know if it's, maybe not something that is, maybe it's more like subconsciously like, hey, they're just a frustrated group and, they prepared well, but at the end of the day, they might've been a little flat. It certainly looked like it because they just didn't play as well as they normally do. So you never know, Kyle. It does look like, it does look to me, though, that the team is playing very hard. It does seem like the effort is there, but it's more the mental side of things, the mental mistakes, the football IQ, penalties on special teams, just silly things that just mount over the game.
Yeah, that's the one thing that another common theme you brought up, Matt, this Mike Houston team, one of the things you always brag about Mike Houston is how they're disciplined football teams. And this team, of all the seasons we've had Mike Houston, help me out, but season 5, this has been the worst as far as penalties that I can remember in the Mike Houston era.
Yeah, which is kind of odd. Most of the time it goes the other way. Yeah. You get your culture in, and you're less penalty. You take less penalties. I think some of the offensive line stuff, the false starts, etc., has to do with having a young offensive line, new offensive line coach. But the other stuff, a lot of the undisciplined stuff, I don't know if it's part of his frustration, situational awareness. I don't know, but it needs to be coached up, and that is all on coaching. You if you want the penalties to stop, you coach it out of them and sit their asses down, no matter who it is, if they keep making stupid penalties. And to me, that's on coaching. Penalties to me is always on coaching.
Matt, do you think playing with Logan in the 90s, do you think these guys, because we know the effort is there, do you think these guys, when it comes to penalties, is it because they're trying too hard? Like sometimes you see the late hits that are unexcusable. I'm not like saying that. Sometimes there's such a thing as a good penalty. Maybe it's a pass interference because you get beat or something like that, so it saves a touchdown. But is it because we're 1-7 now? So you're 1-6 football team like yesterday, and you're trying so hard to win. You're giving the effort to the coaches and your fellow band of brothers, if you will. Is that a situation where they're trying too hard, so they're making mistakes?
I mean, it could
That's
be in
what's going through
certain
my mind.
cases. It could be in certain cases, Dave. I mean, I think a lot of times it's a football IQ thing. And, when you see like a wide receiver running up the sideline and he's about to take his second step out of bounds, and the free safety flies in and knocks him into the bench, those things are just football IQ. Like, you have to know where you're on the field and have a good feel for that. And I mean, I do think the effort is there, but it's that every week there's an inexplicable 2 or 3 penalties that just seem to come up, and you just wonder where that stuff is coming from. I mean, I don't know how many false starts. It seems like those have decreased in recent weeks. But between the false starts and all the other stuff, I mean, it's just they just have to clean that up. You're just not going to win. You're not going to beat a good team playing like that.
And we have so many 50-50 games. I know we always talk about a 1-6 now 1-7 football team, and that's what they have to understand is every snap can be the difference of winning. It's so razor thin to win these football games that the penalties are the different. I mean, I hate to say that, a cliche.
Well,
but
you played a relatively penalty-free game against Charlotte, and you lose because you just were so tight, and you started the wrong quarterback. There was no excuse for that performance, and so sometimes I don't know. Sometimes you can be too tight about having penalties, and you play bad, like I said against Charlotte. So there's a thin line there, but again, that all comes back to coaching to me. You gotta coach it out of them. And I don't know. At this point of the season, the penalty number should be going down. I mean, at this point, you're not young players anymore, so you can't use that as an excuse. So you've been playing, even if you're a freshman or you haven't been getting many snaps up to this point. And now you're 8 games in, so you're not a young player anymore. You can't use that as an excuse. So to me, now it's all in the coach. And something I wanted to get to that frustrates me. And Matt, sometimes I don't think we know what the hell we're doing with our personnel. Like, I understand Rajee Harris, was a starter and he got injured, and I understand he gets the blocking schemes, but I've seen Kamara Edmonds every time he touches the ball, he never stops on a play. He busts his ass. He goes for extra yards. I don't think we're getting him enough carries. Green's been injured. Yesterday was the first time since early in the season we got to see Gerald Green touch the ball, and he was very explosive. So hopefully you'll see more of him going forward. Gunn's back healthy, and he's still you. I just don't understand why we're not utilizing some of our personnel, particularly in the running back room, better.
And guys, really quick, Matt, I was going to ask you guys, I haven't heard any word on, I know it was a hamstring with Bond, but have you guys heard anything on him? Like, because
it sounds like it's day to day. He may be back this coming week.
Okay. We need
him.
I
heard he was iffy for this. I don't think, sure, we do, but I think we got enough talent running back, particularly with Green back, if we use them properly. Matt, what do you think?
We do. I loved what I saw from Gerald Green yesterday, and we've been talking about him not to sound like a know-it-all, but we've been asking about him for.
Well, he's been injured a couple weeks, so to be fair with that.
Yeah, definitely he had the injury.
And no Pop McKay.
Prior to that, I was like, why are we bringing this guy here from Georgia Southern, who's a proven commodity at this level? He's had a lot of success, multiple 500-yard seasons. and then you bring him here, and then you don't play him. Like, it just didn't make any sense. And you could see some burst from him yesterday.
Yes.
Considering that our line really struggles to get push and create holes, you can make a valid argument that a smaller back, a shiftier back, will give you the best chance to find some creases.
He knows how to hit the crease outside in a hurry. If he sees that outside lane, he hits it in a hurry.
In a hurry. He looked very explosive. Even the commentator on TV, he said when you watch him, you could tell he's got fresh legs. He used the term fresh legs, and he did. And and I think Rajay, I don't think his speed or burst has quite come back from the ACL yet. And
no,
I think I'm not banging on Rajay. I think he's a great kid. But I think his best attribute right now in this offense is short yardage and goal line. I think he's very effective.
Well, what do you make of what do you make of the running back in the blocking scheme? So, our line's struggling, so we use Rajay to block some in some of the blocking schemes, obviously, and I guess obviously that's an important part of it. What do you notice from the other backs when they're in there in those situations where they're, it's a passing play and the back's in the block? And what are your thoughts on Kamara Edmonds? Because every time I see Edmonds touch the ball,
I like him.
He runs. He doesn't have the explosiveness, but he runs hard. He does not give up on a play.
He's strong. He's very strong, and he does seem to be hard to bring down. And I'm with you on that too. More. I've actually been more impressed with Edmonds this year than I have Gunn, which has really surprised me. But based on what I've seen, I want to see more Edmonds and more Gerald Green, and again, run some speed option with Gerald Green. Try to get him on the perimeter with his speed, and see what you could do.
Guys, another question I had, and help me out on this. It doesn't, if it is happening, it doesn't seem like it's been a lot. We have so much talent at running back. They were talking about early in the year running a two-back set. I'm not seeing.
We did it yesterday.
Okay, I didn't see it. All right.
We did I don't remember. We did it a couple times. I don't remember if we had much success or any success with it. I remember one time we ran something out of it, or we were getting ready to run something out of it, and a timeout got called, and I can't remember if we went back to it. But yeah, I saw it a couple times yesterday. Matt, do you remember any plays in particular out of the two-back set?
Yeah, I mean, I remember a few where we would start in a two-back set and then motion one of the backs out.
Right.
A little bit. You saw that a few times yesterday. And, one of the things we used to do really well under Lincoln was we would motion a back into the slot, and that back would essentially leak straight up the middle of the field, and he'd be matched up with a linebacker. And you would see that occasionally. So, yeah, I mean, you could definitely do some creative stuff with two backs. But whatever gives you the best chance to succeed, I'm for it.
I mean, short passes, anything that you can get them, like Kyle talked about, like you guys, and we talked about too with Gerald Green. I mean, we have talent. There's no question. That's probably the best room we have is running back as far as depth, and that's why. And Coach talked about having so many backs because of his style of offense and guys that are getting hurt so much. But I wanted to ask you guys, this is something that's bothering me a couple of weeks, not in a bad way, but just I haven't been confident enough to ask the question. But do you guys think Gunn is not 100%? He doesn't seem to be.
Well, he was injured earlier in the year.
Yeah.
So, no, I don't think he is, or he'd be getting more carries, I'm assuming. I don't know. I don't see the production out of Raji. Again, the only thing I can think of is he's a better blocker than the rest of them. And this is not because we have anything against Raji Harris. I want to make that very clear. I just wonder why we haven't seen more of the other backs, Matt. It's just a two-man show now. Just down to you and me, Matt.
Yeah, I mean, I don't get it either, Kyle. I really don't. It's one of the long I'll add that to the list of items that have confused me this year when watching this football team. Another one beyond that, you're just talking about personnel and how you use it. I really think you have to move Parker Moore back to the right side. He has just struggled big time at left tackle. He's played right tackle his entire career. He played it at West Virginia. He played it here last year. he hasn't been able to make that transition to left tackle. I would try to maybe shuffle. Really, what do you have to lose by shuffling things around a little bit on the O-line? And maybe give somebody else a shot at left tackle, because just so many breakdowns on the edge coming from the tackles, and you got to shore that up. But it's just getting your personnel in the right spots.
Yeah, no, I agree with you 100%. I don't understand why. I don't know what our other options are at left tackle. We talked about it the other week. We switched up a center because the other center, I'm horrible with names, play left tackle. I don't know. I'm with you though.
Yeah.
Urkel, yeah. So I don't know. He's obviously more comfortable at right tackle. You would think there would be an option to put, maybe we just switch right tackle and left tackle around. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I think by moving him to left tackle, you almost weaken two positions, because he was more effective at right tackle. So, at least you shore up, I wouldn't say shore it up as if he's, an NFL all-pro player there, but he was more effective there. And then at left tackle, you could experiment with some young guys if you have to. I'm all for it at this point, because we're not going bowling. You have to look at this as, you want to get the win, don't get me wrong, but you also have to prepare for the future a little bit.
Yeah, and he's going to have to win some games. So, that's where but if what he's doing ain't working anyway, you might as well go ahead and try to prepare for the future and win at the same time.
Right. Absolutely. And, we have some young freshman tackles that maybe, how I feel about redshirting in 2023. I would not hesitate to pull the red shirt from those guys and get them playing if they're able to do so.
No, I'm with you 100%. I think, unless just the guy isn't going to be productive, to me, redshirting anymore is pointless. It's beyond pointless. I don't know why anybody would redshirt anybody anymore unless they're just not ready to go yet. So,
absolutely. So, Kyle, what do you think about? I know you're feeling a little more optimistic. Yeah,
trying to be.
Tulane coming in here next week. What are your thoughts on that game? I know you're feeling, like if we play well, we might have a chance to pull the upset.
I think if we play our best game of the year, you think of Cincinnati 2018, just out of the blue, where we almost, upset them when they were highly ranked. I think Tulane, the last few weeks, their defense has struggled, particularly against the pass, out of the blue. I think they look like they're trending down a little bit. That somebody is going to beat them. So I think it could be a combination of things. Them playing their worst football game, overlooking ECU. This is their second straight road game. So they just played at Rice. They only beat by 2 points. Rice took them all the way down the wire. So you come in here, it's a second straight road game. Maybe you're overlooking the Pirates. You sleepwalk through the game, make some mistakes. The Pirates, maybe take some positive momentum on offense into that game, make some plays early. The defense should now feel challenged that they're the ones that let us down this week, more so than the offense. Not the offense was perfect by any means, but the defense has been carrying us. So we can't afford them to have a week off. So maybe they feel challenged this week. And plus, you're playing a top 25 team. You're playing a team that beat you last year down in New Orleans. They're top 25. They beat USC in the Cotton Bowl. They're 22nd in the nation. You've got one win. You've got nothing to lose. You're going to be fired up for this one. Tulane's not going to be fired up. I'm doubting it. So, there's a chance, man, that if we can really play our best game of the year, execute on offense, I think this is going to be the first week where Flynn feels like it is truly his job. He's not going to have anybody looking over his shoulder. Who knows? But it also wouldn't shock me if we come out and the offense stinks it up again, and and we get beat, 42-7. It wouldn't shock me one bit. But I do think everything lines up nicely for a potential upset. I look at games each week, and if I was a non-biased fan looking at this game, this is one that would stick out to me just a little bit and go, kind of like Virginia and North Carolina 2 weeks ago. This is one that would stick out to me a little bit is a what if. Like I said, I inspired everybody with comments with that one.
I think I forgot I was on mute for a second. I was sitting there talking, and yeah, I think you make some great points, Kyle. I really do.
What do you think, Virginia?
Right now, the two Tulsa is a winnable game, in my opinion.
Man, if Tulsa looks. I didn't like that hire. I didn't. And the beginning of the year, they've gotten worse as the season goes. If Tulsa keeps trending like they've been trending, we better beat them. To me, that ain't shit. To me, if you don't beat Tulsa, you fire him that night. That's how bad they're playing right now. So, and that's in Greenville. So to me, it's that one. Can you get one more? Can you Tulane, FAU, Navy? So if you can get 3-9, I'm all for giving him another year and let's try to get this fixed. I'm not gonna be happy, but I'm okay with making changes on the offensive staff and giving him another year. So the question is Tulsa and who else? And the Tulane sure would be a sexy one. That could make a lot of these losses a lot more stomachable, palatable, however you want to say it, a lot more easy to stomach, a lot more palatable. If you could somehow upset the Green Wave.
What do you think the attendance is going to be, guys, like for this week?
I think the max, is I think it's supposed to be nice weather. I think max 30,000, probably 25,000 would be my guess.
Yeah, I would say so. Say so. If you can get 25,000 people in the seats, that's probably about what I would expect. Based on the product that we're seeing, ECU attendance historically, once you hit November drops significantly. And then you throw in the 1-7 record. It's not a great recipe for success. So 25,000 is a good prediction.
I would just caution everybody, and I know everybody's going to say, Kyle, you're talking about firing him, but I'm just going to caution everybody. If you're not there and we pull the upset, you're going to wish you were there.
Yeah, especially when maybe the complementary football, the offensive and defensive side of the balls plays better. And how about special teams, Matt? Because Conrad did get a 51-yarder. I was really happy about that, and I think
Got kicking inside, Dave.
I know that, but still, the year that we've had, he had missed one. What was a 52-yarder? He had already missed.
Yeah, and the short one.
No, this game he only
yesterday or last week.
Charlotte.
Yeah, he only missed the long one against.
But that's what I talk about when you talk about plugging. You plug one hole, another one's over. It's always something. It's
right.
If it's not, you go back to NC State last year. You play a great game defensively, very solid offensively, and then your kicking game lets you down. In addition to conservative coaching, couldn't let that one slide. But it's always something every week.
Yeah, and I hope everybody does stay interested, stay angry. Look, don't let apathy sit in. Don't sit there and go, because that's what I feel is happening. Don't sit there and go, well, we are not going to win any more games. Well, we might. We might turn the season around still. You never know. Can't go to a bowl, but who knows? Maybe we win our last 3 in a row beat Florida Atlantic, Navy, Tulsa. Get a lot of positive momentum. If you're mad after the loss, stay mad. Demand changes. Demand, don't accept 1-11 if that happens, or even 2-10 if the other wins over Tulsa. Demand changes, but don't just sit there and become apathetic. Anger doesn't kill football programs. Apathy does. Do not become apathetic. Do not accept losing.
Well, the one thing I'll say about football, as bad as we've played at times this year, guys, college football, more than any other sport, I'm telling you, more than any other sport, more than basketball, more than any pro sport, a great game plan and coaching can affect the outcome of the game. I truly believe that. And it's also an emotional game. If you have one team that's dialed in, that's completely committed to the game, playing physical, focused, you can win games in football. And as bad as this team has played, there's no, like, to your point, you can make an argument that if you play well, you can win any game for the rest of the year. You can make that argument. So you don't know what's going to happen, but it hasn't been pretty so far. But certainly, if you come ready to play with a really good game plan, you can win any one of these games. But it's going to take a lot. It's going to take, you got to cut down on penalties, the dumb mistakes, and you got to get more physical up front of the offensive line.
Desperately. The offensive line is the one thing that I think may keep it from happening. And because you can't fix what you ain't got. And sometimes I just don't think we have the talent in the line. It's that simple. So that could be what keeps us from doing something in the second half of the season.
You take a look at Tulane defensively; they're giving up 20.5 a game. Obviously, that's excellent stat there. They're giving up just 333 yards of offense per game.
But what about the last 2 weeks, Bubba?
Well, this is eye-opening. They're only giving up 79 yards per game on the ground, just 2.8 yards per carry. So, with the way we have not run the football with any success to mount anything, it's going to be. I would expect the game plan to be very similar to what it was yesterday,
which I think is good. Do you have their stats for the last 2 games? Because the last 2 games they've given up a lot of points, and it really has taken everything they could to win the last couple.
Yeah, and the yardage that they allowed, they must have given Rice some short fields in that game yesterday. They led 27-7 at halftime, and let's see, Rice just had 271 yards of offense, 82 rushing, 189 passing.
Wow! So turnovers, huh? 3 and out?
No, it really wasn't even turnovers. Because that's what I thought. I was like, well, they must have had at least 2 or 3 turnovers. I think they had.
Does their punter suck?
They had 1 interception and no lost fumbles. So,
what was the average starting position for Rice in the second half? Do you know?
I don't know. I'd have to look that up.
Because that doesn't make any sense. You can't even figure out how Rice made it a close game.
Well, I hadn't had a chance to dive into.
Yeah, I know. But what you're just telling me, it doesn't.
It must have been a field position thing where they had some short fields.
Yeah, I'm just curious if Tulane's punter sucks or if it was a bunch of 3 and outs. I'm curious to what happened. And the previous week, I believe it was against North Texas. They also had a very close game.
North Texas did have significantly more success, at least in turn, as far as yardage, 426 yards, 343 of that 426 came through the air. So, if the upset is going to happen, or we're going to have a chance to upset them with a close game into the fourth quarter, then Alex Flynn is going to need to do what he did against Rice and then against UTSA with 250 plus through the air. I'll be stunned if we have a chance if that does not occur.
Agree, 100%. What's Tulane doing on the other side of the ball offensively? How many points are they averaging per game scoring?
Give me one moment. They're averaging 30.6 and total yardage 406.
Okay.
And they're throwing for 234 and running for 172. So very balanced. And they've thrown 5 picks as opposed to their secondary producing or defense producing 10. And then
I'm liking the upset less and less all the time, Bo.
Yeah. They have lost 8 fumbles and they forced 5 fumble recoveries. So or had 5 fumble recoveries. So there you have 15 turnovers forced and then 13 turnovers committed. So
Okay, so they do turn the ball over a little bit.
and then the opponents are converting just 35% of their third downs. Meanwhile, Tulane's converting 43.5% of their third downs.
It's really surprising to me because none of their scores this year have really blown me away. That I can remember.
And
you're right, Bo. You're right, Kyle.
And they have produced 22 sacks. So, in addition to being very stout against the run, holding opponents to 78.9 per game on the ground, that has to. I'll look and see where that ranks nationally, but it has to be top 10 or 15, I would say, and then 22 sacks. So they're in 8 games, not quite 3 sacks per game.
Forget what I said about the upset.
So odds are, I'd be a little surprised based on what we've seen if they don't make it one dimensional. And
we're 46 minutes into the show, and all of a sudden went from
so goddamn it. Well, sorry, excuse me for that one. I don't apologize for customer trying to say that. Those stats are just, when you hear them, you're like, oh, it makes you want to throw up when you see them. When you hear how good they are, that you compare it to our stats, and it just takes all the wind out of my sails about the up. I don't even understand how their scores have been, particularly with the Rice game. I don't even, when you look at the stats for that game, the brief synopsis that we just had, I'm still trying to figure out how in the world Rice made it a 2-point game.
Emmanuel Paul, he makes a great point here, guys. He says Tulane is going to be a difficult task without special teams or defensive points. And Matt, the reason I brought that up, I was going to ask you, Matt and Bubba and Kyle. It seems like the recipe this week is not only that we talked about penalties, but also, like Emmanuel says, with like we had the pick six, and if we can get any kind of like Kyle was talking about earlier in the show about pressure on the quarterback. Matt, how do we get that where we can a scoop and score, the pick six, or just an interception in general? How do we get that for the defensive side of the ball? Maybe they'll wake up this week.
Well, if you can get pressure off of the edge and you force the quarterback into some uncomfortable positions, that's typically what you can get. I mean, but it does take some pressure up front, and you have to really disguise your looks. So in other words, prior to the snap, you might show cover 3, and then at the last second you switch into a different coverage. You have a ton of pre-snap movement. Those are the things for a quarterback that can really throw you off. Pre-snap movement is huge, just to kind of give different looks. But that quarterback down there, he's very disciplined. He's probably seen just about anything you can throw at him at this point. So it's going to be hard to get him to make those kind of mistakes. But, stranger things have happened.
Yeah, I don't know. I got myself all fired up now. I've just had to win. It's just completely taken on me.
Kyle, that was one of the classic moments on the show. So Kyle was feeling so great about our chances, and Bubba comes in.
It's like
Bubba comes in. He reads off some stats, and then Kyle came back defeated. Man, I don't know about our chances.
Well, that very thing is we're talking about razor thin, but Bubba, with the kicking game and special teams, I know, like Emmanuel said, the defensive points, that's when you're looking at every part of the game. I mean, and Matt, you were talking about we fix one problem, another one's created, or all of a sudden it's like a whack-a-mole kind of thing where you knock one down and the other one pops up. But there's got to be a point with this team. You were talking about consistency, Matt. I want to bring in Bubba. There's got to be a point of this team where they do have a complete game, don't you think? I mean, they're still playing hard. There is talent there. It's just like there's like these flashes, bright spots, and then it's back to reality. So maybe there's a game where Saturday is a perfect chance to get it together.
Go ahead, Bubba.
Yeah, actually, I was going to go back to what Kyle was curious of how Rice kept it close. I brought up the drive chart for the Rice Owls against Tulane yesterday, and what it was, Kyle, it was largely extreme inconsistency, much like we had against App State. They had 3 excellent drives, and that was about it. So Rice had 3 plays, 6 yards, 7 for 82, 3 for -8, 3 for 0, 8 for 23, 12 for 75, 2 for 3, 3 for 2, 6 for 75, and then 1 for 8. So
okay, so what inevitably happens? It sounds like
they had
Tulane's
4
defense takes
touchdown
some
drives,
drives
and 3
off.
of those touchdown drives were 75 yards or more. And then the other one, they must have forced they had a pick, and they took over like the Tulane 3.
Okay, so we're going to have to take care of the football, and we get in the red zone. We're going to have to take advantage of any opportunities we get, basically.
Go ahead, Kyle. Sorry.
Or were they explosion plays? How many plays were those scoring drives, Bubba?
7 for 82, 12 for 75, and 6 for 75.
Yeah, okay. So we're gonna have to drop the ball on them. It sounds like.
I'm
I'm feeling left.
Of those 4 touchdowns. So the last one was a 35-yard touchdown pass to Luke McCaffrey.
Okay.
You had a 4-yard touchdown pass, a 3-yard run, and a 5-yard run. So all the touchdown plays were 5 or 6 yards or less, with the exception of the 35-yard touchdown pass halfway through the 4th quarter.
Yeah, I'm really curious sometimes how Rice almost lost to us and lost to UConn. When you really look at the way they played in all their other games, I guess Daniels being injured maybe had something to do with it for those 2 weeks. But I don't know, man. The more and more I hear, the less and less optimistic I am about this game. I hope we show more progress, and maybe going into the last 3 we can get hot. And I do think Florida Atlantic, Tulsa, and Navy are all beatable if we continue to show progress. But man, this is frustrating. You try to be positive, and you can't even get through one show, and then reality hits you in the face.
Well, maybe this is the week that we're all surprised with. We'll see. All right, let's see. Let's go to Irving. Says this is for you, Matt. Coach Logan used to say on his radio shows when he went through losing patches, the players need to get sick and tired of losing, and the team needs to develop a heartbeat. Applicable, easy for me to say.
Oh yeah, no doubt about it. You definitely have to get sick and tired of losing. And the thing is, it takes all 11 guys on the field. You could have 10 guys play perfectly, and then if you have one guy who's breaking down over and over or busting a coverage, it just makes the whole defense look bad, or the offense. So yeah, absolutely. I mean, these guys have to find a way to be consistent. And again, to use that word, complementary football, the offense has to play well the same week that the defense plays well.
Yep.
And that's really what we haven't had.
In fact,
and Tulane's won 19 out of their last 22. And they've had close calls, and they have the experience of doing what they needed to do to win those games. After relinquishing leads, specifically, especially against North Texas, but relinquished a 27-7 lead, or came close to doing so yesterday, but were able to hold off the Rice Owls at Rice Stadium.
Yeah, Jeff said what we need at this point is our first bad week of practice. That would ensure a win on Saturday. It would stand the reason. Love it.
Getting to be like Scotty Montgomery, where all the practices are great.
And Monica says to Shell, there's no clear leader on the team. Matt, Bubba, is it too late for some guy in the locker room, or guys plural, to stand up and say, we're having a team meeting, we're not doing this anymore, we're not making mistakes anymore? Is it too late when you're 1-7? It's so hard to say 1-7 and East Carolina football in the same sentence. But can you get leadership late in the year?
You definitely can, but it's got to come from, I think, somebody who has a proven track record and somebody who's performing every week. I think the one guy that really has impressed me, not to say the one guy, but somebody who's impressed me this year a lot is Chad Stevens. He's been all over the field at times, and he plays very hard. He's a guy I see a lot of emotion from him on defense. I don't know if he's vocal like that in the locker room, but it's going to take somebody like that to kind of step up. When I played at East Carolina, we had a ton of leaders on our defense. Morris Foreman, the Hart twins, guys like, Mark Libiano. Those guys were very vocal, like never stop talking in practice or in the locker room. So it does take guys like that.
No doubt. And, who would that be on offense? The most consistent player I think we've had on offense is Sewell. And, he's new to the program, so I don't see how he could insert a leadership role. But there really isn't a lot of senior leadership on that offensive side of the ball. So somebody's going to have to step up. And you would like for it to be your quarterback. And maybe now that Flynn, I think, will be solidified as a starter for the rest of the season, maybe he does take more of a leadership role with the offense and can command some things from some guys, but he's got to do it himself also. You can't ask your receivers to make plays for you if you're missing them when they're wide open.
And Matt, when it comes to this team, what is there like I hate to bring it up, is there like a breaking point with this team, or when we're talking about late in the season, I do agree with you guys. I think that every single game left on this on the schedule is winnable. So it's not like you have Michigan next week.
I think you have to show continued improvement, Dave. I know you asked Matt, but I think the breaking point is if this week, win or lose, we go backwards and we lay another egg like we did against Charlotte, Tulane stomps our ass. I think that's the breaking point. I think that's when you could probably say, forget it, it's done. Maybe we beat Tulsa just because they suck worse than we do, but that's even iffy. So I think the answer to your question is the breaking point is when we have another bad game. I think that'll be it. I think at this point of the season, you have to continue to show improvement like last week if you're gonna turn it around. I think another horrible game like a Charlotte, or we get blown out by somebody, I think that's the point of the season where you could probably hang it up on any chance of improvement for the year.
Yeah, and another thing too is, the portal in some ways does keep guys honest. So let's say you're a player on this team. That's a good point,
Matt.
Yeah, let's say you're a player on this team and you're like, oh man, I've had it. I want to get out of here. I'm going to hit the portal. Well, I'll tell you what, if you blow off the last 4 or 5 games of the season, and you put bad film out there where you play lackadaisical, you play lazy, you're not running to the football, you're not blocking, good luck. So I would have that message in the locker room too. If I was the coaches, like I would actually talk about that in meetings, that
really?
You have to have, I absolutely would. And because you have to challenge yourself to play at this level every single day. And listen, if you're thinking about leaving, you better continue to play as hard as you can, because if you want our recommendation or our referral, you better play hard. So I wouldn't be afraid to talk about it. And then there's a comment from Monica. What's up, Monica? You're playing for the legacy you leave. 1-11 is not the story you want. Absolutely. No. That's a great point.
Yeah, that's a great point when you're talking about. I was going to talk about the portal with the O-line too, Matt, since you brought up the portal and you're our portal expert here on the Sports Objective here on the Pirate Football Playback tonight, being Sunday night.
Matt has an apartment in the portal.
I love the portal.
No doubt about it. And Matt, we've been talking about
Matt is a portal nerd.
Hey, I'm glad we have him. Matt, you've been talking ad nauseum about the offensive line. Even you warned us, and I have to give you credit. I forgot to do it last week. So before we leave tonight, obviously I wanted to give you credit. You warned us about the offensive line. I don't think any of us, including yourself, thought the offensive line would be this bad. And when you have this type of offense with Houston, you got to have an offensive line. And so my question to you is, I know that you and I have talked about it off air and on air about some of these guys wouldn't even be starting, right? But they are what we have. But how do you, as far as the portal goes, we know how difficult it is to recruit offensive linemen, to get them to East Carolina as far as the portal is concerned. how do you get these guys here? Because we obviously know if that's, I believe that is the biggest Achilles heel, and that's how we fix our program, is to get better offensive linemen.
I'd look at the junior college ranks. I think it's too hard to get good offensive linemen out of the portal unless you're a Power 5 school.
Yeah, it's definitely. I mean, it's more competitive than ever. Definitely. I think Kyle makes a really good point on JUCO ranks, because a lot of people have moved away from JUCO so they could just poach from the portal. I think you have to continue to recruit. Here's the thing, right? Recruit bounce back players. So these kids that you recruit hard out of high school that are like 4 stars that choose to go to, Florida State and wherever, you have a chance to get those guys back in the portal. I think that's, another thing is, we don't really recruit or have a lot of players on our roster from Eastern North Carolina. And I think you have to do a better job recruiting Eastern North Carolina, trying to keep people home. And then the final thing is NIL. The NIL is going to play a vital role in this moving forward. Not to get off onto the whole topic of NIL, because we could go down that rabbit hole for 2 hours. But at some point, we are going to have to start. If we're going to compete, we are going to have to pay people.
And I was going to mention that if you haven't heard the Patrick Johnson show from Wednesday, guys, Coach Logan talked about that. It's very simple. In fact, Robert puts it up here. Let's put that Robert's comment. He says, NIL, how about 25,000 per offensive lineman? The moral of the story is that whether we like NIL or not, we got to get over the fact of, I was talking to some other ECU folks this past end of the week. We got to get over ourselves about this is the way that college football is going. And before,
I'll tell you something, Dave. I don't mean to step on your point, but it's to do with your point. The Boneyard Collective, how well is it being promoted by the university? How much are they allowed to promote a collective? And then media partners. We promote the Boneyard Collective on our own. Nobody from the Boneyard Collective has asked us to, or even thanked us that I know of for promoting it. And is Pirate Radio promoting the Boneyard Collective because the Hintons are so involved with it? I don't know if they are or not. I haven't heard them mention it. You need everybody pointing in one direction for this NIL thing. I know the Hintons had a lot to do with starting the collective. If you don't like the Hintons, go start another collective, and we'll get behind it too. But there needs to be a solid direction for this Boneyard Collective, and the people that are behind it need to be asking us to promote it. They need to be getting with Pirate Radio about them promoting it and being involved in it. The university, if they can promote it, should be promoting it. I mean, why are we not, people talking NIL. What do we have to even people even know where the hell to give?
Yeah, well, I was going to say the very fact is, I know Hinton talked about several months ago that for AAC school that we needed to raise at least $1 million a year. Well, I think being that our fans are so passionate, if we truly were all on one page and got behind it, Matt and Bubba and Kyle, I believe that we could raise 3 or 4 million, because we have the donors out there. We have the folks that are the regular people that take a shower after work. It doesn't matter. It does not matter if you can only, and I told you guys this before, I can only give $50 a month. That's all I can give to the collective.
You join the Boneyard Collective for as little as $10 a month.
Right. And that's what I was going to say,
How
Kyle.
many people know that? I bet very little. It's not promoted worth a damn.
You're right.
Because all ECU media, they don't even, we do it on our own. We promote it. Again, to my knowledge, it's not promoted at all on Pirate Radio. Maybe it is. If it is, somebody correct me and I'll quit saying it ain't.
How many people on this are? Let's do a poll really quick. The people watching on Facebook and YouTube, how many of you guys know about not only Team Boneyard, but how to give, and that you could give as little as $10 a month?
Or where the website is, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I mean, I don't know. How closely are they? How do the rules work? How aligned can the university be with promoting it? Can the university say, hey, give the Team Boneyard? Can the Pirate Club? How closely are they working with Team Boneyard? How closely can they work with Team Boneyard? I
like this. Hey, let's put up Monica's comment.
Does anybody know about the Pirate? Nobody? Okay. Bub, are you familiar with those rules?
while we're waiting on Bubba, Monica says ECU needs a person in place who is a director of NIL. Do we have that? We need to have something like Clemson's IPTAY program where you pay $10 and agreed, Monica, like that. We talk about
Clemson's IPTAY. That's their version of the Pirate Club.
Right.
I'm not sure what Clemson's collective is. I'll see.
How closely can your booster club work with your NIL, Bubba? Can the Pirate Club promote Team Boneyard?
We're in North Carolina. The way to answer that, Kyle, as far as other states, I know state to state. That's another thing that drives me crazy. I'll say this and come back to it in a second. It needs to be national rules, not state to state, because it's so confusing. One state allows you to do this, and in Texas, Kyle, to your point, Texas was passing this summer, and I didn't hear if they officially did, where, in other words, the Pirate Club could actually be a collective where you could say, okay, we're in the Pirate Club.
That's not really my question.
Oh, okay.
Can the Pirate Club promote Team Boneyard?
I have heard Ryan Robertson briefly talk about, Team Boneyard and, showing some appreciation for what the Hintons and others involved.
Well, we need to quit. Look, I'm going to tell you, the Hinton name is divisive, and I thank the Hintons for starting Team Boneyard. Okay, but we need to just we got to get everybody involved, and that includes the people at Pirate Radio. And so the Hintons and the people at Pirate Radio need to get together with Team Boneyard. And the Pirate Club, if they can promote Team Boneyard, need to be promoting it, but they can't even promote their own effing Pirate Club worth of crap. So, I don't, in terms of that whole thing, it's a goofy mess. How often, you people out there in podcasting land that are listening live on YouTube and Facebook, how many of y'all are contacted by phone by the Pirate Club to be asked to give them more? And how about Team Boneyard, the people running Team Boneyard? Have whoever, the collective behind it, have you got people on the phones contacting every member of the Pirate Club, asking them to join Team Boneyard personally? I mean, what are we doing? We got our fingers up our ass, relying on the same 10 people to do everything.
That's you stole my thunder, Kyle. I was going to say that you read my mind on that. The people that are watching and listening. There's a lot of people we have the best fans listening and watching, obviously, that are dedicated to the program, but we've got to reach beyond the friendlies. We got to reach beyond. There's so many people out there that are never asked. And then when it comes to Team Boneyard, if people, like it's a narrative, if people kept saying Team Boneyard, you've got to give.
And the problem, I think, with Team Boneyard is, again, I think some people don't like the people behind it. And you got to get past that. It's going.
I don't even know that.
It's going to ECU.
I don't even think that people know about Team Boneyard and who is behind Team Boneyard. To be honest.
I think part of I think the people that know about it knows behind it. The problem is the other people that don't know anything about it.
Right. All right, and here, Bleeding Purple and Gold said, "I'm currently giving to Team Boneyard, but we do need direct messaging and a shepherd to herd the flock." Amen. Bleeding Purple and Gold. Thank you for that.
Hire Bubba. Team Boneyard, you understand? Hire Bubba. let Bubba do that shit for you. He'll call everybody. If Bubba can quit his job.
I agree.
If Bubba can quit his job, y'all pay him whatever he makes as a teacher. Give him a 5-year contract so he knows he ain't going to be in and out. He'll stay on the phone every damn day calling every member of the Pirate Club, anybody who's ever watched a Pirate football game, anybody who's ever said ARG. I guarantee you, hire Bubba.
And by the way, I nominated him for the executive committee. So
Kyle did I.
Both of us did. So nominate Bubba for the executive committee.
Yes, if you're a Pirate Club member, check your email. You should have a email from the Pirate Club asking you to nominate for the executive committee. Nominate Bubba Rosenbaum.
Aren't you kind? Aren't you kind?
Yeah, well, that's
seriously.
Yeah.
Good luck finding anyone more capable to get that job done.
Exactly.
Bubba. So
I just knew, Kyle, you would get that reference.
I did. I did.
All right. So here's another one. Bleeding Purple Gold says, "We need all of Pirate Nation. If every unique season ticket holder, 5,000, gave $50 per month, we would raise $3 million per year." And that's before big donors jump in. Exactly, Bleeding Purple and Gold. That's exactly my point.
But don't even put a cap on it. Don't say if you can only give 10, if you can only give 20, if you only give 5.
Exactly.
Just give what you can. You know, 50 is great, but some people can't afford to get 50 a month. Some people are maxed out, but if you can't afford to give 10 a month, you know, call me.
Netflix.
Call me. I'll give you some food.
Netflix and Hulu cost
cancel
more.
your damn Netflix. I'm going to cancel Netflix $16.99 a month.
It's
Peacock
going up
for $5.95. Come on, man.
Exactly.
Guys, I ran some numbers today about this. I really think if we can get to $2.2 million annually, which I realize is no easy task, especially when we're trying to get an IPF built. I mean, which is just it's just dragging over our head. Right? The indoor practice facility is like a black cloud.
Just build it for what we can. Build it for build it for what we have now. Do it the best you can, and quit trying to make the nicest this indoor practice facility on the East Coast.
Yes, that's right. And you know, I came to this $2.2 million number annually because, you know, you look at what SMU is doing, for example. Well, you have 85 scholarship players. If you paid, what I propose is you pay the top 70, because some of those scholarships are going to go to walk-on players, et cetera. I don't think you have to pay everybody on the roster. But if you can pay the top 70, $26,000 a year, all right, that will also leave money to pay a high-profile quarterback, or maybe you want to bring in an offensive tackle. You have to find a way to get to $2.2 million annually. And I think that will make you a very competitive football team. If we can't do that, if we can't compete, we're going to have to drop to the Sun Belt and be able to poach non-qualifiers. That's going to be the future for East Carolina. If we can't compete with the NIL, we're going to have to be able to recruit non-qualifiers again. Or you could just basically, you know, we also have to have competent coaching too.
Absolutely.
But if we have but at the same time, agreed. But if we had, like you said, Matt, the 2.2, I put it up there to 3, because I want to have the edge when it comes to the American. But we say we want to compete for championships, right?
Yeah.
We say we want to do that, and we know what we have to do. The question is, instead of talking about it, how do we get there?
We got to have good leadership to get us there that puts it all together, and that's what we don't have. We have an athletic director who is good at making hires, I will say, as far as coaches go. He has so far with most of the coaches he's hired. So if we do have to terminate Mike Houston, I do trust him to make a good hire. Don't disappoint me there. But I don't think we have good leadership in the Pirate Club. I don't think that the Boneyard collective is being promoted well enough beyond their own media. You know, we do it, you know, because we want to. They haven't asked us to my knowledge, and I'm you know, I don't know if they've thanked us, and I'm not asking for a thank you. I think everybody should want what's best for East Carolina.
Yep.
So but we have to have good leadership. Everybody has to be going in the same direction. That's why I say, no matter how tough it is, if we go 1-11, we have to make a change, because you're going to have people excited and everybody going in the same direction to be willing to give. Matt said he spoke with multiple donors last night, big donors, that said they would not give if we go 1-11 and Matt's retained. We're going to keep Matt if he's retained.
Please retain me.
Hey, guys, Matt Redmond says $2.5 million a year in NIL, and the indoor practice facility will take care of itself. I think so too, Matt. I think there's. I
agree with that.
I think there's enough people out there that, like I said, look at all the. Hey guys, look at I know
what he means is if you put the money in it, we'll win, and then people are more willing to donate, and the indoor practice facility will take care of itself. I agree with you 100%.
Yeah, we'll buy Matt's contract out for $300 to pay him $300 to go away.
Yeah, that's right.
Listen, Bubba,
if we keep him, we pay you $350. So we're freeing up $50.
Wait a minute, Matt's going to leave us because he can get a better deal on another podcast that hates us. So
yeah,
I have a few offers on the table, Bubba, you better pay up, buddy.
Transfer portal. You said you had. Kyle says you have a.
Has the Boneyard podcast been contacting you, Matt?
Fellas, I can't reveal. You're gonna have to talk to my agent for a statement.
Oh man.
I can't reveal that kind of stuff.
Is it the Boneyard podcast? Is it IGO? Is Pirate Radio eyeing you? I mean, what is it? I mean, we got to make.
If we don't perform as a podcast, I'm gonna have to find the best opportunity for myself. You know, and that's all I'm gonna say, right?
You're not getting any younger, right, Matt? You're not getting younger.
I need some NIL. I need some.
Well, Matt, I'll just have to tell you as I would if you were one of my players. I say, Matt, you're a hell of a player, and I hope we can meet your expectations. But if we don't meet your expectations, then get your ass on out of here.
But Matt, seriously, you're a former player. Bubba's a former player. Like, is there a certain amount? You know, I know you said, like, I get what you're saying about the 25,000, because Logan made a great point. Let me go back to that real quick on Patrick Johnson. He said, "Man, can you imagine if I were coaching, if I had NIL? I tell you what I would do." I'm paraphrasing. He said, "I would get a big donor. I'm gonna call a big donor. I'm gonna tell that donor I need $500,000. Okay, and what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna call every single one of the big schools that have a backup quarterback that's a really good quarterback just sitting there wasting time. If it's Georgia, Alabama," he started naming all the big schools you would think about, the national championship schools. And he said, "I'm going to call them. I'm going to give them $500,000. I'll tell them about the NIL deal. And I would guarantee them to start." Like, in other words, he would obviously, Logan knows better than I'll ever will with a quarterback. But how do you guys feel about that? Is that what we need to do as far as not only the offensive line, but our quarterback situation?
I mean, I don't know if $500,000 is going to get the top backup quarterback at Alabama or Ohio State or Michigan. I don't know, maybe. But
that's a lot of cash. I'll take it.
I get what you're saying. Yeah, theoretically, if you could do that, that would be great. I mean, that would be fantastic. I mean, there's been a lot of rumors out there about Logan, in Houston, and apparently, and then I hear other people say that Logan, Houston, really, maybe they wouldn't see eye to eye. But then I hear. You hear those rumors, and I know that's what you weren't alluded to, but
no,
it made me. You brought it up, and I figured, so why not talk about it?
Talk about it.
Igo had that post about Logan joining the staff and claims it was just some random post, bull crap. And then Patrick Johnson asked Logan. I forget how the question was worded. Bubba, do you know how that question was worded exactly?
It was something I do. It was something to the effect of, like, would he get back in coaching again? It was a generic question. I didn't hear.
And he said yes if the situation was right, or what it was.
Yeah. In other words, what he would look at. Here's what he would look to do. It's the same thing he had in Boston College. So what he had in his, for people that don't know, when he was at Boston College, coming back from the NFL Europe, he said he wasn't going to coach anymore. And Boston College came to him and said, "Here's what we're going to give you. We're going to give you this amount of money, and you do not have to recruit." That was in his contract. I don't care if the Logan recruits or not, because he can coach the quarterbacks. If they offered him that, give the man as much money, because we desperately need somebody that can come in.
I mean, there's other good coaches. It doesn't have to be.
I know that.
Logan. If use is retained and we bring in an OC, Matt, Logan better than any of us. If Logan knows these rumors are out here, if he has no interest in it, is he the type that just let them run anyway, or do you think he'll come out and squash it?
I would think he would squash it. I mean, I would be shocked, and I said this to you the other day, Kyle. I would be shocked if Logan came back to East Carolina in any facet. I really would. I mean, just because of the stage of his career, he had a lot of success here. Does he want to put his legacy on the line in 2023? I don't know, but I would be shocked if there was any. I think a lot of that is wishful thinking.
Igo and Patrick Johnson both work for Henry Hinton, and you didn't know this. Dave will tell you. One of Steve Logan's very best friends in the world is Henry Hinton.
Right. They own a boat together.
And so, to me, this ain't just coincidental bullcrap. Maybe it's wishful thinking on Henry's part, and he's trying to twist Logan's arm, and who the hell knows? Because I know Logan, I know how close they are. But I'm not sure I even want Logan to come back to ECU if he wants to. I'm not sure it's what's best for the program. I don't know. I know he can coach quarterbacks, but I don't know what kind of offensive coordinator he'd be in 2023. I know he would not want to be involved in recruiting. How involved would he claims he would want to be involved? Apparently in the portal stuff, which is interesting because that's recruiting. But it sounds like if he could talk to donors, that he'd be interested in working the portal. So I don't know. I just find it funny that Igo and Patrick Johnson are both stirring this pot And they both work for Henry Hinton, and Henry and Logan are boys.
Matt, when I heard the interview, and I'll be honest, guys, because I'm one of the biggest Logan fans. I love Logan. We won a lot of games under Logan. I'm not saying he was perfect by any stretch of the imagination, and I understand when people say like that we maybe need to move forward. I understand that, but at the same time, with Logan, you do get a lot. You get a guy that understands our culture. You get a guy that knows quarterbacks. And hey, if we could get a guy, and Logan says, I know I'm just throwing this guy out, so don't. I'm throwing out an example, so please nobody take this as a rumor. This is not a rumor. This is just me throwing out an example. Let's say that Bill Clark Holmes says, "All right, we'll step up and we'll give $500,000 or $1 million."
What if we do this? What if we get Bill Clark Holmes to give the money, and we literally make Bill Clark the head coach? We are the Bill Clark Holmes, Bill Clark, with Bill Clark as head coach. That would be genius. That is freak. Can't believe I hadn't thought of that. Bubba, Matt, what do you think? Bill Clark, the former head coach at UAB, that had to retire to get spinal fusion. He's doing better. I hear he may want to get back into coaching this coming year. Did nothing but win at UAB. What if we get Bill Clark to make Bill Clark the head coach? I think it's genius.
Yeah, at some programs, quite a few programs, you'll go to their coaching staff, and you look on the website, you'll have whatever insert business, your or family name, a prominent donor, your such and such family head coach. You could have the Bill Clark family head coach, Bill Clark.
Yeah,
as much as that is a joke, I wouldn't. I could get behind that.
Well, I'll tell you one thing: they have been a great family. So, and again, I was just throwing out an example as far as let everybody be clear. People hear half of of what you say, so that is not a rumor. I just threw out an example. I know Monica said earlier about great businesses in Greenville, no doubt about it, and they're one that's definitely stepped up to the plate many times over and over again. But that's the kind of stuff that we need. We need those businesses to give major money. The Bates Foundation with Cy Seymour. Hey, Cy, we need you, bro. We need those kind of people to not only, in other words, we appreciate all they're doing for the Pirates Unite and everything else, no doubt about it. But how about getting them to give to the collective?
I don't know how much conversation's been had with Mr. Beast, but I would aggravate Mr. Beast.
He's another one, yes.
I would aggravate Mr. Beast to the point he would either give to NIL and to the indoor practice facility, or he would have a restraining order against me if I was in the role of Ryan Robinson or either whoever's really running things in the NIL. I would aggravate him to the point. I mean,
he's a billionaire.
Student athletes. There's so many things that he could do with that would benefit. You just think about it. You're talking about Deion Sanders, and you got Mr. Beast. You come to ECU, and now you get to be in Mr. Beast videos, and you get paid by Mr. Beast. I mean, it could benefit his brand just as much as it could benefit us. He would be all over ESPN and Sports Center if Mr. Beast suddenly had an NIL collective with ECU and was paying players to come to Greenville to be Mr. Beast. I mean, the Beast of the East. It just writes itself.
Yeah, exactly. And that. And the very thing of, I was just going to quickly say, Matt, and I'm going to pitch it to you. I was just going to quickly add to that real quick. If we had the collective with him and he gives a lot of money, you could actually have, I would put a Mr. Beast patch on the ECU uniforms for all our sports because the guy's a billionaire. So why not?
Yeah, absolutely. It goes back to leadership. And you like to think that we've tried to organize a sit down with Mr. Beast and present, a very compelling case for him to participate in ECU athletics and really present a case of what's in it for him. And I do think there's incredible marketing opportunities. ESPN would run with that, to your guys' points. Anytime we had a game live on TV, they would run with that. Name the indoor practice facility after Mr. Beast. I don't care what you do. Give him a suite for the rest of his life on the 50-yard line at Dowdy-Ficklen Stadium. You do have to try to, present and sell it. You have to sell it. Somebody actually has to go sell it, though.
He does these videos.
Great opportunity. Last year you heard Pirate fans who attended the game out at BYU and talk about how hospitable the BYU folks were, giving free ice cream to all the Pirate fans. Well, when NC State or App State next year, when they come to town, we could give them Mr. Beast, these nuts, chocolate bars.
There you go.
The thing with Mr.
Beast, Bubba.
That was awesome.
But there's another thing about Mr. Beast. He always does these things where he's giving stuff away. Why don't we do something with him? Maybe we've talked to him about it. How about he does something at halftime and he surprises so many Pirate fans with whatever? I mean, there's so many things that we could do,
right?
And that would again be all over. Mr. Beast showed up at halftime at the ECU game and gave away, $100,000 to 10 different fans. I mean, that would be all over Sports Center. I mean, there's so many things we could do that would be mutually beneficial to both ECU and Mr. Beast.
And he actually is guys, if you didn't know, he's a baseball player. In fact, he played at Greenville Christian Academy. That's my understanding. But he was at the regionals and super regionals 2 years ago.
Well, if he's a baseball fan, maybe that's the approach we take with him.
Yeah, he's a baseball guy.
But obviously, the biggest publicity for him would be through football.
Oh, no doubt.
Maybe you have to bring him in through baseball. However you do it, whatever it takes. Again, they would have to get a restraining order. If I worked for ECU and any kind of with the Pirate Club, or if I was with the Boneyard Collective, if I had Mr. Beast's contact information, they would have to get a restraining order. I wouldn't leave him alone until he either gave or I got a restraining order in the mail. Somebody get Mr. Beast this video. Just point out this segment. We're begging. Just get on the phone. Forget contacting ECU. Just get on the phone with the four of us, and we'll get it all figured out for you, Mr. Beast.
No doubt. I mean, it's when a guy's a billionaire. You mean to tell me that we've got a billionaire by Vince McMahon, but I think Mr. Beast is more realistic because he is in Greenville, and
Vince is about 150 years old, so he's got some money. I would also approach Vince, and I'm assuming we have, but I would approach Vince and say, "Hey, look, you just sold the WWE to a multi-billion-dollar company.
Yep.
You're in the twilight of your career. He's 78, I believe. So
yeah." He's older than my parents.
Maybe it's time you gave back a little bit to the athletic program. You like to brand things. Just as well if we can have. How about this? The WWE has started something where they're recruiting guys out of college to the NXT. How about you come to ECU and you're a WWE student athlete, and you come to ECU and you're paid, and you have a path. If you don't go to the NFL, you have a path straight to the WWE,
and that pays well too.
There's several things. I would
Mr. Beast could be the Boone T. Pickens of Eastern North Carolina. Yeah. I mean, he could be the Boone T. Pickens, right? I mean, he would be a legend, no doubt.
How about this? Stevie Fly says challenge Vince to a match day versus Vince for $1 million donation.
How about this? How about we challenge Vince and Mr. Beast? I'm challenging. In fact, I am. Get it to him.
No,
Vince McMahon and Mr. Beast. I'm challenging you both. Who can give the most? Vince, you like to be the king of everything. You want to be number one. You've beaten all these promoters. Can you beat Mr. Beast? Can you outgive Mr. Beast? Mr. Beast's young and hip. Mr. Beast is a quarter of your age. Mr. Beast has your key demo that you're trying to get from Monday Night Raw and SmackDown. Can you out-donate Mr. Beast? Mr. Beast or Vince McMahon, which one of you can give the most to East Carolina for NIL for an indoor practice facility? I'm challenging you both. Somebody get him the damn video. Somebody give Mr. Beast and Mr. McMahon this audio. I'm challenging you both. Who can give the most? Mr. Beast or Vince McMahon? Are we going to be the WWE University? Are we going to have WWE NIL? Are we going to have WWE indoor practice facility? Or is it going to be the Mr. Beast indoor practice facility and Mr. Beast NIL? I challenge you both.
Monica's a great salesperson. She said, yes, we need a sales leader in charge of that. Sending in my resume. Monica, please. Somebody... we're talking about leadership. We are great Pirate people. We need to get these folks aware of this, because I think that going back to what we've said, I know we're running long, guys, and we'll get out of here soon, but I really believe that it's what Kyle was alluding to, Matt, Bubba. It's literally It's literally awareness. If we don't have the awareness to the collectives, we need more awareness to Pirate Club. We need to be pushing, like I know Kyle, I talked about it. If you're a teacher, there's plenty of teachers out there that could give $100 a year. A lot of teachers. Let's have somebody that works in the Pirate Club give. That's their job. You call every single teacher. You go to every single school. My God, we have Elmhurst. They could crawl to Elmhurst from the Ward Sports Medicine building. There's so many schools just in Greenville and Pitt County alone.
I want to see Kyle in a ladder match versus Vince McMahon. That's what I want to see.
Pirates.
Hey,
Winner.
I hear Vince. What was I think? But I just heard Vince. I swear.
Kyle, what do you think of that idea? Ladder match?
I think I need to lose some weight first. I got to have hernia surgery. But you know what? I ladder match maybe not be my specialty. I'd rather have a street fight. Me and Vince with a street fight. I'm gonna take my knuckles up. And
we could do like Mr. Fuji. Remember, Mr. Fuji would throw the. It was
throw
like
the salt. Yeah, throw the salt. That's gonna be my
equalizer.
That's gonna be my equalizer. I'm gonna throw the salt.
Pirates.
What in the heck?
That was Vince saying, "Go Pirates, go!"
But just
hey Kyle, how about? Hey Kyle, let me just say this: on the biggest stage in wrestling, that would be WrestleMania. You cannot be any worse than Shane McMahon. You cannot be any worse. You're talking about you need this and you need this and you need this. Well, look, Shane McMahon totally. Oh my God! I mean, thank God for Snoop Dogg. Actually, you want to talk about one of the best covers?
Snoop Dogg thought on his feet. Yeah,
that was one of the best covers ever because that was probably one of the worst WrestleMania matches I've ever seen in the history of WrestleMania.
Vince blew his Shane blew his quad like Vince did several years earlier. For nobody knows what the hell we're talking about unless they saw it. But yeah, bad moment for Shane McMahon. Shane's the son of Vince. Hey, he might, you know what? Maybe he'll give us some money after his daddy passes.
Oh God.
But seriously though, guys, like. Just the final thing.
Matt, you're in Connecticut. Why don't you go get a face-to-face with Vince?
I passed their headquarters, on a regular basis.
Look,
knock on the door.
With your purple and gold.
Yeah.
Tell him you're a former East Carolina football player named Matt Semenza. You're currently an executive for whatever company you work for. We won't say on the air unless you want to. And you want a face-to-face meeting with East Carolina about Vince McMahon giving to some damn NIL for ECU, and you're not going to leave until you get one.
I like it. I like the way you're thinking. I mean, I don't know. I may not make it through security, but I'll give it a shot.
You're a big dude, though. People don't realize you were a linebacker at East Carolina. You're still in great shape. I think you could take out some of those guys. Give them a jump off the top rope and knock them down.
Matt, Vince will appreciate your chutzpah. He'll appreciate your intestinal fortitude and the gall of you, and he'll just be so impressed that you did that. Just out of the blue, he'll just be forced to give.
Hey Matt, Stevie said, just tell him that's the bottom line.
Yeah, that's right.
Bottom line.
And they hit him with a Stone Cold Stunner.
I love it, Stevie. I love it.
All right, so we got Matt's going to take care of Vince for us. He's up in Connecticut, so
who's got Mr. Beast? Monica's got Mr. Beast. Monica, what can you? There's people in Greenville that know Mr. Beast. Come on, there are people that, including at my work.
You tell Mr. Beast Kyle from LaGrange said he wants a one-on-one conversation with him.
The dude.
He knows who Kyle from LaGrange is. Sure, he does.
He could view that. He could stream that live on his YouTube channel.
That's right. That'll get. I'll get him. I'll get him tens of viewers.
Monica said she's on it. So, that's the thing is we've got so many great people that are in our fan base they're passionate. That I'm telling you, man, we get like Matt said, you get 2.2 million every year to the NIL. Then we can pay these players. That's what we've got to do. I don't know about you guys. This has got to be, Matt. Let me ask you this, and Bubba and Kyle. This has to be the longest football season in the history of ECU football, going all the way back to 1932. This has to be the longest season. We're just barely. We're getting ready to be in November. It feels like it's January right now, or February for me. Like the season was delayed.
It feels like the season's going by too fast to me because I wanted some more wins.
Too fast?
Well, yeah, because I want more wins.
God,
I want more wins.
I do too, but when you're winning, man, it goes by fast. The season feels like it's 4 to 6 weeks versus 12, and now this one.
I get what you're saying, but we're going to run out of time for wins, and I don't want things to go like I think they're going to go, and we're going to run out of time. So
They picked us last. They picked us last.
Exactly. You don't want to finish last.
How about this? Robert has a great idea. Redirect 20 to 25% of your Pirate Club donation to NIL. Done. Problem solved.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, but
then Bubba,
you got to get people to do that.
Bubba, we have people that we know, Bubba, that they and help me out. I'm not going to say the person's name, but we had somebody in our Signal, our group, that they want to give more to NIL. The problem is if they take less from the Pirate Club, then they're going to lose stuff for the Pirate, right? Like the seats, right, Bubba? For their football, they have like anywhere between 10 to 12, maybe 12 seats, but that kind of stuff, they won't be able to buy the season tickets anymore. So like they won't
be able to buy as many seats as
right,
they want to.
For football.
Is there any way they can? Is there any
specific location?
Go ahead, Bubba.
I just said at that specific location, obviously, in order to purchase seats.
Well, is there any way they can be smart about that?
Without sitting down and, looking at the different giving levels and what's necessary to be able to purchase tickets at those specific locations.
Couldn't there be a friend that purchases? Couldn't they have a friend in the Pirate Club who maybe is at that giving level that doesn't purchase seats, and you just give them the money to buy those seats for you?
Right. A lot of folks
more
do
than
that.
one way to skin a cat.
Hey, by the way, Elliot, because of us, Elliot's upping it. His from $75 to $100 a month. Let's have a challenge.
There you go.
All the people in Pirate Nation, we challenge everybody to at least $10 a month. How many people can we get that listen to this show, that watch this show?
Every Pirate Club member should be given at least $10 a month.
Yep.
If you're not a Pirate Club member, if you're a Pirate Club member, you're not giving $10 a month. Then why?
Well, let's get this comment.
B-Pays makes a great comment that we hear from so many former athletes, including Matt too. You got to get more folks involved. I know former athletes who've never been approached. Call them.
I mentioned that on Pirate Radio last night, Pays, that I talk to former players all the time, and they say they're never contacted by the Pirate Club.
Well, Elliot's asking, do we know how much money is in there, Dave? Talking about the
collective. No,
collective. It was almost everyone already is that listening to this. I hope you're right.
Yeah, you're preaching
Elliot,
I know we're probably preaching to the choir, but what we're asking is for the choir to sing louder and get the word out
people,
to the other people that may not be in. And if you're a Pirate Club member, I would. We got 6,000 Pirate Club members. I don't think we have 6,000 people given to the.
It was at least 5
given to NIL. So.
Yeah,
I've heard we have between 300 and 400,000 now. I don't know how accurate that is, but if you just think about that, just stop and think about that for 1 second. What I'm proposing is 2.2 million annually.
They just want to get to $1 million, so they're halfway to where they want to be almost.
And I talked to last.
But think about it like this, guys. We should have when you walk through campus, all right, there should be a tent set up. We should have people promoting these things on campus. What's the best way to grow the Pirate Club? You reach out to actual students who are invested in East Carolina. You get them started early, kind of show them the importance of giving back. So I think we should have a strong presence on campus. In addition to that, every restaurant in Greenville, all these restaurants and bars that
used to be called Sporting Pirates.
They still have it, but it's not.
Well, they benefit from when East Carolina is good at football and we pack the stadium, the local economy is strong.
Exactly. I made that point last night to somebody. If Pirate football is more than just, it is important for Pirate football to be successful for Eastern North Carolina's economy.
Yeah, because by the way, if you did not know, Pete Pace has throws socials for the younger alumni demo, rooftop bars, etc. Market the product. But hey, how about this? Most people don't know, but we're
DJ.
What's that?
Pays can DJ the event.
Pays is the man. Yes, he's a good friend, and we go back to the 90s, and both DJs coming out of ZMB and both successful. So he's the man. Absolutely. I definitely vote for that. But guys, did you know that the average home game that we have in Greenville, for the economy for Greenville is $2 million a game. $2 million.
That doesn't surprise me at all. It has to be. Most of the people that come to the games do not live in Greenville. So
Right.
you're spending money at restaurants, you're spending money at hotels, you're buying stuff at Walmart, you're stopping at the mall, whatever. So, yeah, it doesn't surprise me at all. I would think it would be at least that. That's just,
All right, we have another question from Elliot. You guys can help me out. That's Dave. What is the update on the indoor stadium? Haven't heard you talk about in a while. Okay, so what we know is overall for the Pirates Unite total out of the 60 million, they've raised 24 million. The last that I heard on the numbers, guys, help me, Bubba, Kyle, Matt.
I think it was 14 million at indoor practice.
14 to 15 million in that range is the last
I'd
that
say
I've
build
heard.
it for that. You can build it for that. I don't care. People can tell me I don't know what I'm talking about. Are you telling me you can't build it for that? I mean, you're only about bells and whistles and all that. You can get one built.
Add on. You can, and incrementally, you can add on. The reason Kyle and I agree on that 1,000% is the indoor practice facility, like everything else,
it serves a purpose. It does
you can
not
add
have
on.
It does not have to be a circus. It doesn't have to have every bell and whistle. It needs to serve the purpose. And you can if you can't get it built for that, come on, you have to be able to. And like you said, we can, when we start winning, we can add on to it later and make it nicer.
Well, and another thing, Kyle, is that do you guys get the feeling? And Matt, help me out on this because you're more assertive also on this. But there has to be some kind of urgency. Let's go ahead and bring, like, in other words, it feels
I think part of the problem with the urgency is we're losing. I think that makes
they're
people
afraid,
not want to give.
Right. They're afraid. Here's my thing. If you start it, more people will, if they see, I think one of the problems we have with our fan base, and I don't mean this in a bad way to the fan base, is a disconnect from the administration. You need to go ahead and start building that thing. You know why? It's going to be 25. It'll be 30 million by the time that you've got to go ahead and start. Well, if you start building it, then they'll give more.
The disconnect started under the Confer regime and everything done with Coach Ruff and Scotty Montgomery, and it's been repaired some, but not enough. And one thing is Houston has won, but he hasn't won at the level we thought he would have. And this year it's gone way backwards. And he also he's not. He does, a lot of people. He comes across as arrogant. And there's a lot of people who don't like Coach Houston personally. Maybe they don't know him that well, but just from the outwardly, they don't like him because he's arrogant. And I don't think we've done enough to reunite the fractured fan base. And some of the fan base ain't coming back. Some of the fan base ain't coming back. But what are we doing? We have people move to North Carolina all the time. It's a growing area. Right. What are we doing to create new fans? And it's tough to create new fans when you're putting a shit product on the field.
Well, another thing is when Paige was talking about the demographic problem, he mentioned, and we have so many great comments. Thank you guys. The demographics of our fan base. Well, guess what? There is a huge Latino population, for example, in not only Pitt County, but Eastern North Carolina and North Carolina as a whole, starting in 1990. So the last 33 years, our Latino population is exploding. Well, let's go after them. There's a lot of great people in there that would be Pirate Club members, that we could go after, that are sports fans. I mean, have you thought about baseball? I mean, how many Latinos love baseball? But there's a lot of great things there that they're demographic. When he said demographics, it just hit me. We're very underserved. We do not go after Latino population like we should. And that's a population that would definitely support us and be loyal.
Right. Well, I mean, I'm white, black, Hispanic, Asian,
everybody,
whatever.
Everybody's
welcome. I understand what you're saying. We have a large Latino population. I don't know how many of those would be big donors, but yeah, you definitely could get some Pirate Club members to sell some season tickets for sure. Go after anybody and everybody you can, and then if it's an untapped market, just in North Carolina in general, why not market to them? Why not be the school that is marketing to them as statewide, not just in the eastern part of the state, but nobody else is going after the market. So why not? If you can get even if you only got 100 God, you can't say it without sounding racist. Only if you got 100 Hispanics to donate, it would be worth it. So as long as you ain't investing a bunch of money in something with no return, sure, go after the Hispanic market. Go after, and I don't know what Pace was talking about demographics and diversity in the Pirate Club, but we need it all can't be 50-plus-year-old men. We need young, we need old, we need male, we need female, we need black, we need white. All money's green, baby. All money's green.
How about this? Robert makes a great point here. He says Mexico has one of the best American football leagues outside, including college and U.S. and Canada. And as a matter of fact, Robert, there are a lot of fans. It's crazy, but there's fans in England and Mexico, guys, that are huge Panthers fans. It's crazy, but they have their own teams just like that. And I know that in the Latino population, there's a lot of people that pull for the Raiders, but there's fan bases out there in the NFL. I know, so why not have it for?
And Matt, you can get the
college.
Italians.
I'll bring in the Italian population. Yeah, absolutely. If they
go.
don't give, we break their thumbs.
There you go. Hey, maybe we should just take that approach with everybody.
All right, let's see.
Bring in the Italian mob, Kyle.
That's right.
We'll go old school. You don't give.
We'll do it. You gotta pay your dues. You gotta pay your dues. This is a pirate town. You haven't give to the pirates. We look out for you. You gotta pay us.
All right. In fact, Monica says it's a big business and requires strategic thinking and a vocal leader. Talking about college football, absolutely. And Elliot says, "How about the Student Pirate Club? Are they doing anything?" The Student Pirate Club actually is probably one of the healthiest parts of the Pirate Club. And I know Blades Hudson, who is my Pirate Club rep, that's his baby. And I know they could, but even being healthy and doing a good job, we can always do more. Guys, with the students, you guys are right about we need to have like tents set up, and we need to like have socials like Paige talked about, and different things we can do for them.
Need to be educated too about the history of pirate football. They need to get who we are and what we are, because this current generation of students don't have a damn clue what we are and who we are. Because we've only had flashes of it since the Ruffin era. We've only had flashes of it under Houston, a couple upsets under Montgomery. But really, since 10 years ago, students 10 years ago, they were little. They were 8 years old if they're coming in now. Back when Ruff was here and winning. So it's they need to be educated on who the hell we are and what the hell we are, because I think a lot of people, the young people don't understand what we're all about. Who, Matt Simmons, what he grew up in, when he came up and playing, what we're all about. And we have higher expectations than 1-11. We have higher expectations than 8-5 in a Birmingham Bowl win, because last year was disappointing, to be quite honest. When you look back at what all we had, we have not reached our potential in years, and I think it's really hard for the current student body to understand what pirate football is all about unless they're generational pirates and their parents are telling them.
Right, guys. How about this?
What do you think about this idea, guys? Let's read Alan's comment, and then
real quick. I'm sorry. The NL Collective needs to run commercials. He's talking about Team Boneyard on every radio station and TV station in the market, and in markets outside of Eastern North Carolina, where pirate graduates live. It needs to be cross-promote on all platforms. Alan Vick,
that's what I was talking about earlier, Alan. You said it better than me as a radio veteran. You are stating facts. It needs to be promoted not just on the Hinton stations, but on all stations and in multiple markets. Absolutely.
Guys, what do you think about this idea? You take once a year, let's just pick for this argument, the homecoming game, okay? Right. You market that as a fundraiser, essentially. So you basically market this throughout the week. We're going to see how much money we can raise during this football game.
Well, homecoming, you already have things that are doing that for other things.
I had my idea, Matt.
Think about this, guys. So you almost do it like a telethon. So all right, after the first quarter, you put up on the video screen, at a TV timeout. So far, we've raised $25,000. Let's get to 50.
You better make sure it's against Norfolk State.
Hey, Matt, what I was thinking about is,
I like your idea, Matt. You just better. I'm seriously. You need to do it against Norfolk State. You better make sure everybody's in a good mood.
Hey, Matt, I was thinking about having something in the off season where we could have a huge tailgate party because we Pirates, we love to party, and we have it every single year. We know when it's going to be, and that very thing we party hard. And
How about
also,
we do this? How about we win in football, and then we carry it over to winning in basketball, and then we win in baseball, and then everybody's always happy, and we just keep giving.
that sounds good. Hey, I don't have a problem with that. But you were talking about the telethon, Matt. I even told, and I probably shouldn't say, but it's a private conversation. It was a basketball game last year, and I told Henry, I said, why don't you have all the radio stations? Why don't you have a radiothon for Team Boneyard? I mean, you have like 4 or 5 stations, and you all have like do it on a Saturday and Sunday. Those are kind of what we call in radio. I hate to use the term throwaway days, but have Saturdays and Sundays, and you have like maybe you could do it, Matt, around a football game or something, and like you talked about before and after the game, you could say, hey, I know you guys at the stadium have raised a lot, but here out in Pirate Nation, we've raised $1.2 million for the Team Boneyard. And you always have these big donors that you wait until the actual radiothon to give the 20,000, the 50,000.
Yeah,
So
and maybe you know how
coming
like
in.
when you have telethons for cystic fibrosis for the Children's Hospital,
Right.
and you have the kids up there talking about how the money donated saved their life. Maybe you could have a football player going, "Hey, without your money, I would not have this Louis Vuitton bag."
Well, hey, some of them have trouble paying for their apartments. So
hey, without your money, I would not have this PlayStation 5. So I mean,
Yeah,
I mean, it's work so well enough.
One last idea on this in-game fundraising idea, right? You do it at let's just say you have 35, 40,000 people in the stadium.
Right.
Okay.
I like it.
And if you have, let's just say you have 25,000 people in that stadium, give $10 a person. You just raised $250,000.
Exactly.
In about 3 hours.
Yeah.
So you can do things like this. I mean, it just takes coordination, and I don't know. I don't know if we can do it.
Like when you
can
talk
Team
about
Boneyard sit up at the stadium and have a raffle where they put in $10 and then
reverse raffle,
reverse raffle at every single friggin' game.
Yeah, the next number coming out is 52, or whatever the numbers are.
I'm not even talking about that. I mean a 50-50 drawing, like at every game, in Team Boneyard, everybody buys a $10 ticket or a $20 ticket, whatever, and we'll do $10 because they'll sell more of them that way. And if there's 40,000 people in the stadium, you get 20,000 people to participate. That's at $10 a ticket. What is that? What is 20? Somebody do the math for me. I'm 200,000.
You said 20,000 times
10's 200,000.
Yeah, 200,000. Yeah.
So now you do a 50-50 draw, and somebody's going to walk away with $100,000, and the other 100,000 is going to go to Team Boneyard. Holy crap! You got a chance to win $100,000 if we could sell that many. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But you could do this where it would be great. It would be great. I'd buy a ticket for $10 for a chance to win potentially $100,000 or several thousand, depending on how many tickets are bought in that 50-50 drawing.
Elliot said, Dave, I have an idea. Why not people at the games holding a secure bucket, standing at the games inside? Many would drop a 5, a 10, or 20, have on the bucket from the Boneyard.
And they can ring a bell.
Yeah. Hey,
that's a good idea. That's a good idea. But I do like the idea of a 50-50 drawing at every home game, or do it once a year. That way we'd sell a ton of tickets for it.
Here's a great thing. So easy to hit a button on your phone during a game. Think Venmo to the Pirate Treasure Chest. Monica, that's brilliant.
There you go. Love it.
I love that because I won't be losing
people
10
like
or 20
to
bucks.
get something for what they're giving. In the 50-50 drawing, somebody's going to walk away. Not only is it going to be a lot of money for NIL, somebody in that stadium is going to walk away with a lot of money that night.
And you can do Venmo, PayPal.
Right.
You can do that. You can do that. You could do the like we're talking about. And by the way, you're gonna love this, Kyle. Jeff says genius.
I don't know which one. Me. If you're talking about me, I agree.
I think all the above. All the above.
If you contribute in stadium, we have a new sponsorship with a beer brand, right? Like Pirate beer, whatever the hell.
Brew,
Oh, yeah.
It's
So
forget the name of the
hey,
brewing
you get a
company.
free beer. You get a free beer. Not to mention, you get everybody in a stadium drunk. People just give whatever the hell they have.
There you go.
Hey, how about, hey, Matt, you could also do it where we come to your house and throw a big party for you. We're Pirates. I mean, somebody could win a chance to enter a chance for a drawing if they give to get a party or have a big tailgate have a big tailgate party for you there at the stadium. All right. I think
Sounds
it's a
good to
tie.
me.
He's going with Kyle and Monica, he says. Jeff does.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, I do love the idea of the 50-50 drawing because
Yeah.
People, you got 40,000 people in there, and you can get 20,000 to participate for $10 a ticket. Again,
I agree with that.
It's $100 to NIL, and $100 and somebody $100,000 to NIL,
Can you
and $100,000. Somebody's going to walk out of there with $100,000 if we sell 20,000 tickets.
Hey, Matt, can you imagine that? Like,
I'll
take that in once.
Oh my God! And then I won that 100,000. I might feel obligated to at least give 1,000 of it back to NIL myself.
Yeah, exactly. Oh my God, I could do. I'm thinking about all the home renovations I could do with $100,000. But that's definitely you're right about that. In fact, how about this? He says, Elliot says a 50-50 drawing, have 10 people to win 10,000 each. I don't care as long as people win. That's all. I don't care.
I like the one big winner, baby. I like the idea of one big winner. One big winner. One person.
Robert says he would buy 2 or 3 tickets for a chance at $100,000. You daggone right you would. That's hey Matt.
Well, it only gets to be $100,000. It only gets to be $100,000 if it's a 50-50 drawing, is if 40,000 people are there and half the people, 20,000 buy the tickets. So you got to keep in mind, you can't guarantee what the 50-50 amount's going to be, but you can guarantee it's going to be a large amount.
Like Pace says, comes back to thinking outside the box. Thank you, Pace. Just because we've done something a certain way, when Alan was talking about, he said, Alan Vick was talking earlier. Thank you again for all the great comments tonight. It's been an awesome show. But he was talking about the marketing is different now, and it's right, because look at this. Think about it, guys. The technology is such that we could do a
50-50 drawings are old as
they are. I'm just talking about the technology.
It's just about using technology where you don't even have to go stand in line and draw a ticket and put in a bucket. You could do it all digitally.
Yeah.
It's. I don't. That is
Elliot said he would buy 100. See, that's another thing. There's people that
you might sell more than 20,000, so it might end up being more than $100,000 winner. And I mean,
if I know Kyle, if Kyle won $100,000, he would give back 90 right on the spot.
Yeah, $90, absolutely.
So Vince is putting the pressure on you. We're talking about Vince McMahon. We talked about Mr. Beast, and now Kyle from LaGrange.
Kyle don't have the money to give away $90,000. Kyle wants $100,000. I'm definitely going to give some of it back to NIL because it would be pretty hypocritical not to. But no, Kyle needs $100,000. No, I don't make that Matt Semenza money where I just have $90,000 to throw around.
Well, I'll tell you what, you guys have, and of course our listeners, but you guys have put up great ideas, because that fires me up. I won't be able to sleep tonight thinking about that kind of stuff. Is exactly what this program needs, a great shot in the arm. And if we have, going back to what we were talking about NIL, if we have the NIL money, we want to win badly with this fan base. And the way we do it, Semenza always talks about the transfer portal. I've been talking more and more about beating the drum about the NIL. And I know that Kyle and I are not rich, but we're giving both to Team Boneyard. We talked about it, $10 a month.
Exactly.
But it definitely comes down to awareness, and it definitely comes down to everybody saying enough is enough. We're tired of losing these players.
Yeah, exactly. And winning does inspire you to give. But look, whether we fire Mike Houston or don't fire Mike Houston, I'm going to be a Pirate fan next year, and I'm going to give the NIL. So
okay, here we go. I got something there. Awin in Florida says in North Carolina, a nonprofit can do 4 raffles a year. The max prize is $125,000.
There you go. So we would have to cap. If we sell more than that, then the rest of it would all go to it would have to go
somewhere
to NIL. So the max that we could give away to some, maybe we would, then more even, then it would be 50-50 up to $125,000 is what you would have to stipulate.
Right.
So, so there you go.
There's always ways. We have good attorneys. There's always the way to get
Well, that's
around
just
that.
more money. That's just more money that
Yeah.
goes to
NIL.
NIL.
The whole deal is Matt Simiza talks about the 2.2 million, right? So that's what our ultimate goal is. So we say, hey, we're trying to raise this money. We're doing the 50-50. You got the 125 grand, but after that point, like you said, Kyle, it's going all to the 2.2. Our goal of 2.2. Let's put it out there. The sports objective. We have a goal of $2.2 million for our collective called Team Boneyard. Let's beat it. Let's beat that record. I want 3, but I agree with Matt. We need at least the par level is $2.2 million. Let's do it.
I'll be happy with getting to $1 million like they want to, and then let's go above and beyond.
Too. Well, that's what I'm saying.
Let's go above and beyond that. But yeah, and like I say, this isn't. I want to be clear because I don't want to be called a hypocrite. This has nothing to do with me trying to, back off of Mike Houston because I'm not one bit. I just want to be clear. This is because whether Mike Houston's here or not, whether we fire him or not, whether I approve of the next head coach or not, I'm still going to be a Pirate. I'm going to be here.
Right.
And the only way to assure long-term success for this program in the new climate is to get NIL going. And NIL is way more important than indoor practice facility.
I got an idea. By the way, Jeff Collins says he's on board. He's going to spread the word. Thank you, Jeff.
Thank you, Jeff.
And Jeff, I never thought you should have got fired at Georgia Tech.
Georgia Tech.
No, you should have. You sucked at Georgia Tech, and they're much better off without you.
Man, people are trolling our show. B Pays says they have to target the big areas of ECU alumni and can do some geofencing events.
Charlotte, DC, Norfolk, Atlanta.
Absolutely. And Pays, I tell you what, the guys right here, look, when you have the armadas that are fantastic, well, Pays, let's do some events. Let's get all of us together and let's do events all over the Southeast, if you will, all the big hot spots like we're talking about. Let's do that. We'll have the big parties. Well, I know you're going to be playing the best music. We'll have the best parties. And that's the way that we can, another way we can raise money. Matt says you get everybody drunk and we'll take their money, right, Matt?
Alcohol is key to this equation. People will give more. But, the reason, again, 2.2 million, you can pay your top 70 scholarship players $26,000 per year. Okay. Your top 70 players. And then that leaves you an additional $380,000 for high profile players.
How about
that's talking about football? We ain't even getting into basketball and baseball.
Hey.
Those sons of bitches don't get no money.
Football drives the bus, man. Right?
Yeah,
football drives the bus.
Hey, how about this? If they do it online, they can make thousands of dollars because if I'm not at the game, I would buy them online. Many would. Yeah. And he also says this is a great idea. He says, Elliot does have a cutoff at the end of the third quarter. I'll buy online if I'm not at the game. And he says, draw at the beginning of the fourth quarter. How about that? You have no quarter, and then you have the drawing right after the Welcome to the Jungle. You could have a big drawing there. In fact,
hell, see if you can talk ESPN. If it's the ESPN Plus game, because in my mind, you do this against the FCS opponents, everybody's in a good mood. If it's the ESPN Plus game, maybe you can somehow convince them to mention it on ESPN Plus and give out the text code or whatever you pay to enter.
And the big winner is Kyle from the McGrange Barber, and he's just donated $90,000 back to the.
I'll certainly give something, but it wouldn't be no 90 grand of it back.
Pay said, "I'm down." He said, "Vontae owns a restaurant in Fayetteville." There you go. I didn't know that.
Vontae, what's the name of the restaurant, Pace?
Well, I guess we'll find out here in a second. He says, Elliot says, Dave, we need to let upper management know. Hey, we there's a lot of people if they will.
The upper management doesn't like us.
You guys email them.
Well, we're talking about the team. We need to get with the people with team. You're friends with the Hintons, Dave.
I can do it.
To tell our 50-50 idea at a game, and then you're going to have to make sure they take it serious and listen. And just look at the response from and look, the audience tonight ain't as big as it normally is because people are angry.
James says 90,000. Kyle, LOL.
Yeah, hey, James, exactly.
Ellie, we have to let somebody. Yes, we do have to let somebody know. And by the way, Pay says Hay Street Grill has a rooftop. See, I'm telling you guys.
8th Street Grill in Fayetteville. Vontae Leach's restaurant. So go support that. If you're next time I'm in the Fayetteville area, I definitely want to check that out. Knowing Devontae owns it, so
Yeah,
good to know.
And there's a lot of, and you know what? Speaking of which, Pays, we have a lot of Pirates that are.
Hey, tell Vontae about the Sports Objective and that we would like to be involved with this restaurant. Wink,
Absolutely.
wink, nod, nod.
We'll do shows from there or whatever we can do to help his restaurant out. We'll do it, and he's getting free
he'll do whatever he can to help us out.
That's right. I tell you what, you guys have got me fired up right now. Bubba, did you hear our idea? What do you think, Bubba?
Bubba, do you have any idea what he's talking about?
I do.
50-50 draw.
I did, and I think that's definitely a good idea, worth exploring, and kind of running up the flagpole, so to speak. And then something else I want to mention as far as teamboneyard.org is concerned. When you go there to give, initially
teamboneyard.org is the website.
Right.
Yeah, and initially this was not the case, but Hank and then everyone there at Team Boneyard, they worked hard to get it to where you can make your gift tax deductible, and by doing so, you'd click the link circled there on the screen where you can give to Parents for Public Schools in Pitt County.
Great.
And the majority of your gift is going to go to Team Boneyard, and a small percentage, I don't know, I'm trying to remember, 5-10%, something
Very
like that,
small.
will go to Parents for Public Schools in Pitt County. So you're benefiting both causes, but especially Team Boneyard.
And if you're not worried about it being tax deductible, just click the yellow button.
Exactly. And we need to make sure that everybody gets the word. I know Jeff, thank you. He said, got it. Thanks. Pace says that Carl Lester Crumpler Jr. is a huge in finance, very successful. We need him too. Hey, Pace, reach out to everybody and say, hey, we definitely want all these guys to give to NIL because they're former great players and they understand what it's like to go through the grind. And now we can pay these players and be successful.
Well, there was somebody that called in on Pirate Radio yesterday. It was just before my call as we wrapped this up. There was a gentleman from California that a couple calls before me that was talking about, or he might have been right before me. It's hard to remember now, but he was talking about, he's very successful out in California and he would love to get back to the university, but nobody from the university's bothered to contact him. And some people are like that. Some people are, if you want my money, ask for it. I'm not going to, ask you. So, that's, hey, whoever that guy was, hopefully somebody at the athletic department was listening on Pirate Radio. We'll pick up the phone and let Pirate Radio know, or let the university know that you had somebody on Pirate Radio who says they're pretty wealthy out in California that's willing to donate, and go back and listen, get his name, and contact his ass.
There you go. Do you guys, I guess Matt had to go or we dropped. Do you guys have anything before we go and get out of here?
No. We'll see what happens. We got a week practice lead up against Tulane. Hope for the best, prepare for the worst. And 4 games to go. In my mind, we need to win 2 out of the last 4 for me to feel secure in Houston. And, only needing to replace some offensive staff. And so in my mind, we got to win 2 out of these last 4. And upsetting Tulane sure would ease a lot of pain. But that's pretty much all I got.
Bubba, do you have anything before we go?
A couple notes on men's and women's hoops. The secret scrimmages or not so secret scrimmages have been going on. Give credit to Stephen Igo here. Especially for the men's notes. Have not had a chance to read much about the second secret scrimmage against Providence. Apparently, we defeated the Friars in overtime. But in the first game, we had lost, by single digits at Davidson. Obviously, a pretty proud program that's normally near the top of the pack or middle of the pack in the Atlantic 10.
Stacy's yelling there.
All right.
So we'll come back. So we defeated Davidson, or lost to Davidson by single digits in the first secret scrimmage. and then beat Providence, it sounds like, in the second scrimmage in overtime. I didn't even know we had secret scrimmages. I've heard of it. I did not know we had 2 of them this year. I sure would like to see Davidson and Providence in the regular season. That'd be fun.
And then on the women's side of things,
they look good.
The women, I heard, and granted, Wake Forest is near the bottom historically over the last few years in the ACC, but I heard we defeated them pretty soundly, and then we fell to Maryland by 10, and Maryland's preseason number 4 in the Big Ten. So pretty strong showing against the Terps as well. I know Amaya Joyner obviously performed very well last year, and she had a double-double against the Terps.
That's good. And basketball season kicks off on the 6th as we take on some school I've never heard of from Virginia.
All right. By the way, Elliot,
who are we playing, guys? To start the season, I can't think of their name.
Ferrum.
That's right.
Elliot's running for
little
office.
Fun fact about Ferrum: it is the alma mater of Billy Wagner. One of the best relief pitchers of all time.
All right.
Good luck, Elliot. He's running for mayor, and I'm actually running for town commissioner in Williamston. I can say that.
What city is he running for?
He said he'll let me know. He's not going to say on the air. So, but good luck.
Vote for Elliot in that city that he's running in.
Yeah, I'm running for town commissioner in Williamston, District 2. So if you know anybody in District 2, tell them to vote for me.
All right, that's it. We're wrapping it up.
All right. Good luck to the Pirates this week. We'll, of course, have our Pirate preview coming up. And I know, Bubba, we're going to have a lot of great programming as always. Don't forget, teamboneyard.org is the NIL for ECU.
Yeah,
and
Tuesday we're going to try to have a Pirate preview. Wednesday, it'll be me and Stevie with just another sports podcast. Me and Stevie got to get together and find out what we're doing Wednesday.
He said a former assistant at ECU in the mid-'80s, went on to coach for a long time at Ferrum in football. So there you go.
We're going to have him on. Maybe we should get him on.
Dave Davis.
Maybe we should get Dave Davis on this week, Stevie. Well, me and Stevie got to get together and see what we're going to have on. We probably will transition into a little bit of basketball talk.
Yep.
If not this week, next week. So stay tuned for that and all the other programming here on the Sports Objective Podcasting Network.
All right. And by the way, I just found out, guys, that we are hosting, that will be in Martin County football on Friday night. South Alamance. I forgot to tell Bubba that. South Alamance is going to be in Williamston on Friday night so our time will be 6:40 on Friday night. And of course, we have our big game on Saturday at Dowdy Ficklin Stadium as the Pirates hosting Tulane. Thanks for everybody for listening. We appreciate you so much and watching live, or of course you can see it archived on YouTube and of course Facebook. We appreciate it. We're going to get out of here. Until next time, you've been listening to the Pirate preview. The Pirate football playback right here on the Sports Objective. Good night, everybody. And as always, go Pirates.